Namaste. You're with Andrew at Yogi Moksha. This is a 90-minute functional yin sequence focusing on opposite target areas through the body. There are some longer holds here, up to 6 minutes, and some longer rebounds between some groups of postures, so plenty of time to melt into the posture and into yourself. The intention of the sequence is to work through the body, targeting areas that are physically opposite. By exploring the physical aspects of opposites, I have experienced a centering of the energy both in between those opposites in the posture, but also a greater awareness of that energy in the rebound between postures. I hope you find this sequence as enjoyable and helpful as I did. Let us know how it was for you. Thanks as always to all our subscribers and to those of you that are able to donate to support us. We look forward to sharing more of the journey with you. Namaste. So finding ourselves in a comfortable seated position, maybe on a block like I am, or just sat comfortably on your mat. We're going to start with some breathing, just bringing our focus inwards a little bit. So settling, straightening the back. Gaze forward, but maybe just a little bit towards the floor. Bringing the eyes to a close. If you're comfortable with that. And if not, maybe just a soft gaze towards the floor or your mat. Gently breathing in and out through the nostrils. Just a natural rhythm, drawing in air and exhaling as your body needs it. As we inhale, drawing in cool, fresh air, feeling it passing over the tip of the nose. Using this sensation to turn our senses inwards, introspecting a little bit, inhaling and exhaling. Inhale, drawing the air in, and exhale, feeling the air move out, again through the nostrils. Cool air in, into the lungs, expanding the lungs, and then as we exhale, feeling the warmer air just leave the body, drawing in air, drawing in fresh chi or energy, and exhaling, letting the stale air go. Maybe one more inhale. And exhale. Getting ready for our first pair. We're going to be working in our first pair of sequences, we're going to be working the front and the back of the legs. So starting with the front, we're going to work the quads coming up the front of the thighs. So we're going to come into Sesar position, so just kneeling on our ankles. So just for some of us this may be quite challenging on the tops of the feet and the ankles, and if that's the case we could do something like bring in a blanket for a little bit of comfort. And again, for some of us just watching the knees, it's not too much there. If it is too much, we can take a little bit of the edge off by coming forward a little. And for those of us that need maybe a little bit more, we can start to think about just leaning back. So we might be starting here, just finding that edge, feeling something in the quads here. Maybe it's a little too much, we're coming forward. And if we're feeling it's not quite enough, maybe walking the hands back, adjusting the position of the legs, opening or closing may have an effect for us. And just finding some stillness here. Finding stillness. Taking our attention to the connective tissue stress coming up in the quads. Adjusting if we need to. Feeling that connective tissue stress coming all the way from the quads, maybe coming up the front of the body a bit, but our intention is the quads. So you've got some healthy stress here on the bones in the toes, ankles, knees. And if we're leaning back, maybe in the shoulders. Maintaining this stillness, getting settled into the Yin mindset, just relaxing and surrendering. Relaxing the muscles in each posture, allowing the stress to pass to the connective tissues. Connective tissues in the form of fascia that wraps itself around leg muscles, around all muscles, tendons, ligaments, joint capsules. Just allowing the posture to open up a little bit. Settling in, getting ready for the next 90 or so minutes. We can try a different head position, maybe drop the head back, or bringing it forward. For some of us this may have an impact on the target area in the quads. And just gently bringing the legs out from beneath us. So the next posture we're going to work with the back of the legs, so the hamstrings. We're going to do that with a straightforward posture. Set up straight with the legs in front. Position of the legs in front doesn't really matter. You might find you want a block or a bolster. And from here, we're simply going to come forward. Now, with the caterpillar, as it's sometimes called, if we straighten the back, we're going to get more down the back of the legs. If we round the back, we're going to feel it in the back. So, our target area here is the hamstrings, the back of the legs. So if we have a straighter back, that's going to enable more stress down there. But if we need to throttle it off a bit,
we can bend the back. So just exhaling, coming forward, just finding that edge, that first point of physical resistance. We're not pulling in, it's not a dynamic posture. Some of us may find it more comfortable to support the head. Some of us may want to bring in a bolster, support the head, or the torso. You can have the bolster lengthways or even forwards. With all of these variations and use of props, always relating it back to the target area. Inhale, relaxing the muscles at the back of the legs. Just finding that stillness. Stillness, exploring the connective tissue running up the back of the legs, maybe coming from somewhere in the instep perhaps, straight at the back of the legs, and then come up through the glutes and maybe come up the back a little. Our target area is the hamstrings, the back of the legs. If we want, we can straighten the back, tilting that pelvis a little bit, then coming forward again. Again, maybe with a prop, maybe with not. Just exploring the connective tissue stress all the way up the back of the legs, both legs, into the glutes. Maybe going up into the back of the thoracolumbar. So we'll be stressing the bones in the knees, femur, pelvis, hip joint. Depending how rounded we have our back, we might have a little bit of flexion or opening of the spine. And depending how we have our neck, we might be getting something there in the cervical spine and the neck. But again, always relating it back to what's the effect on the target area, the back of the legs. Introducing some stress into the connective tissue, sending those signals to the body, just letting the body know that we want to strengthen and lengthen these connective tissues to ensure that we've got more mobility in those areas. Because quite naturally, overnight and over longer periods, what you find is the body, connective tissue, particularly ligaments and tendons, they shorten, and this can restrict our mobility, range of motion. And that's what we want to gently just counteract. Gently, as we inhale, just walking back with the hands. And coming back for our first rebound. And in each of these rebounds, we're just going to explore the opposites that we've been working with. So lying on our back, arms and legs, comfortable distance from the body. Bringing our awareness straight away back to the front of the leg, the quad, and the back, the hamstring. Just opening the mind to then sensations that arise or move through these areas, maybe between these areas, the front and the back. Maybe we're becoming aware of physical
physical or energetic sensations that either remain static in those areas, or maybe they're moving up and down the legs, maybe coming further up into the upper body. We're each different, so we're each going to have a different response. But over time we get to learn what our physical, energetic and emotional responses are to each of these postures. Once we understand that, we can start working with particular postures to ensure that the flow of energy throughout the body is optimized. Just breathing in and exhaling. Following those sensations. Maybe as they move throughout the lower body, down to the toes, the feet, up and between the front and the back of the legs. Just gently rolling to one side and coming up. So for our next posture, a pair of postures are going to be the inside and the outside of the legs. So the way we're going to target the inside first is staying in our seated position, posture sometimes called dragonfly. We're going to take the legs to 90 degrees or as close as we can get to it. Probably with Yin, the rule of thumb, you don't want to be at the extreme. So wherever's comfortable for you, we're going to be here for a few minutes, so you want to be comfortable. And then we're simply going to start walking the hands forward. Again, looking for that edge. When we find that edge, you're going to feel that in the groin and the inside of the legs. So when we find that edge, just pausing, inhaling, breathing into the groin, and exhaling as we release the breath. Maybe feeling the stress in the muscles release past to the connective tissues. And as that happens, maybe feeling the posture open up a little bit, gives us the opportunity to adjust. And an adjustment for each of us is different. That may be coming a little deeper, but it may be just staying where you were or even coming back a little bit. Again, as we did in the last posture, we can use the bolster, support ourselves this way or that way. Or you may just prefer to support the head. Entirely up to you. Whatever works, and different days, different things are going to work. So again here, as in the last posture, we're going to want to have the back straighter rather than round. And finding that edge. Finding some stillness now. Again, in that stillness, exploring the connective tissue, stress on the inside of the
the legs, the inside of the thighs, groin area, all the way up from the knee up to the hips, inside. Because it's a soft stillness. As we continue in the posture, you may find that naturally the posture continues to open up. And also some healthy stress here in the bones, the knees, femur, pelvis, hip joints. Depending how rounded our back is, you may have a bit of flexion there in the spine, opening up the back, opening up the space between the spinous processes there in the back, compressing the front of the spine. Just inhaling and exhaling, maintaining this stillness. And as we did with the connective tissue, just making sure in these postures that the process of rebuilding, restructuring bones and strengthening is happening where we want it to. Inhaling, just walking the hands back up, bringing the legs together. So having worked the inside, we now want to work the outside of the legs. And we're going to do that with a posture known as sleeping swan sometimes. So we're going to take the right leg forward, take the left leg back. A couple of variables here, the position of the knee, in or out, personal thing. The position of the ankle up or down, again, this is going to be more stressful and closer to the body. So just finding a position that's comfortable for you today. Back leg doesn't have to be absolutely straight, just going backwards. And initially on both arms. So we're going to start here with the torso up, just finding that edge. Our target area here is the right glute, but coming down from the right glute, the IT band on the outside of the right leg. So working now on the outside of the legs. I'm going to find that edge. I'm going to breathe into the glutes. Exhale, relax. Consciously feel the muscle relax. A couple of times. And then we're going to have the opportunities perhaps to adjust going forward. So more like your sleeping swan coming forward, maybe resting on the elbows, or again feeling free to use props like the bolster. Continuing to open up perhaps we can come down further, coming down towards the mat. And again we can start moving the torso around, bringing the torso closer towards the foot. It's going to put a little bit more stress on that right hand side, so we might want to do that. Just finding some stillness wherever you are now. Exploring the connective tissue stress in the right glute, particularly the IT band in the right leg going down the outside. Maybe also feeling some sensation going all the way down the outside of the right leg, to the edge of the right foot. And coming up from the glute, coming up the right hand side of the back through the thoracolumbar area. The stress on the bones here. Knees, femur, pelvis, hip joints. Just maintaining that stillness, enjoying the gentle opening up of the posture. Gently breathing in and exhaling. Checking in that those glutes are relaxed. Quite often we find that subconsciously some muscles start to engage again. We just want to make sure that they continue to be relaxed so that we can enjoy the full connective tissue stress. So in your own time, as you inhale, just coming back to where we started. We're just simply going to swap to the other side. I'll just swap around for the camera, but you stay the same way and just use the other leg. So we're going to bring that left leg forward, taking the right leg back. Again, just being mindful that we can bring the knee across as much as we want, this ankle up or down as much as we're comfortable. Because we're functional in this practice, in all our practices, it doesn't matter if we feel that we're sort of slumping a bit to the left hand side. We're going to bring it back always to the target area. If we're feeling it in the glute and the outside of the left leg, then that's good. That's all we need. It doesn't matter what it looks like. So, finding our edge, using the breath to relax the muscles in the outside of the left leg and the left glute. Coming forward, maybe resting on the elbows or a prop. Maybe staying here, or perhaps if the posture continues to give us the opportunity to adjust, we can come down and rest the head on the arms or a prop. Again, if we want, we can start moving that torso, move it to the left. That's going to take some of the stress out of the target area. If we bring it over towards the right, that's going to introduce a little bit more stress. Never really wanting to work at the margins though at our extremes, so probably in Yin working 70-75% of the full range of motion. Just finding some stillness, exploring the connective tissue stress now in the left glute, coming down the outside of the left leg, the IT band. Maybe a sensation all the way down the outside of that left leg to the edge of the left foot. And from the left glute going up the left hand side of the back, thoracolumbar, coming up all the way to the left shoulder. But our main focus being the IT band as the outside of the leg and the opposite to the groin that we previously worked. So we're just maintaining this stillness here. In relaxing any muscles that have started to engage again. Maybe one more breath here. Gently coming up, bringing that right leg back, coming onto the back for our next rebound. So the focus for this rebound being the inside, the outside of the legs. So we just work the groin and the IT band and glute area. So arms and legs relaxed. Bringing the eyes to a close if we're comfortable. Bringing the awareness straight back to this target area, inside and outside of the legs, glute. And just opening the mind to those sensations that arise. Maybe at this stage in the practice they're just physical, or maybe some physical and energetic. Maybe we feel there's coolness or warmth, or waves moving up and down the legs, between the legs, between the inside and the outside. And how do these sensations differ from our last rebound when we were focused more on the front and the back? Perhaps the sensations are more energetic, sort of high frequency vibration. Perhaps there are some emotions that are coming to the fore. Whatever these sensations are, just be aware of them and just follow them. Inhaling and exhaling for the last couple of times. Just gently rolling to the side and coming up. So our next pair are the hip flexor and the glutes. So starting with the hip flexor, we're going to come up into our all fours. We're going to bring that left foot forward, hands in line with the foot, the inside of the left foot, right leg straight back, extended. Start feeling something here in the hip flexor. Just starting to find that edge. Inhaling. And exhaling. And using the breath, inhaling into the hip flexor, exhaling, allowing the stress to move from the muscle to the connective tissue. As that happens, perhaps the posture opens up a little bit. Maybe we've got the opportunity to adjust a little. We can stay here if we want, just make ourselves comfortable. If we're going to be pinching in the left hip, we can walk the hands a little to the right side. If we want a little bit more stress in the hip flexor there, we can start to elevate the torso. You can rest on the knee. We can open up the side here all the time, allowing that groin to move towards the mat. Quite nice. Gives us a nice twist and stretch. We can bring the torso up a little bit further, resting the hands on the knees. We can take the hands behind us, opening up the chest, extension of the spine. If we want to, we can even take the arms above, wherever you're comfortable. So just finding your expression today, finding some stillness, always coming back to the effect on the target area, exploring the connective tissue stress in the hip flexor. Maybe it's extending up into the stomach, the rectus abdominis. Have the stress obviously on the bones of the toes, ankles, knees, femur, pelvis and the hips. Maybe an extension of the spine if we're up or we have our arms above us. Just gently releasing, putting the hands back down on the mat, bringing that left foot back and coming to the other side. Just bring the right foot forward. Hands in line with the foot, on the inside of the foot. Starting to find that edge, allowing the groin to move down towards the mat. Maybe using the breath, inhaling into the hip flexor. As we exhale, you might find the posture opening up just a little bit. Again, maybe this side is very different to the other side, not unusual. So on this side we might find that this is as far as we want to go. If that's the case, we just continue to maintain this posture. Walking to the left hand side if we feel we've got any pinching in that right hip. Or if we want to, a little bit more on the hip flexor, just raising the torso to whichever of the variations we might enjoy. Opening up to the side,
pushing back with the hands against the knee, all the time ensuring that the hip flexor muscles relax and gravity is moving us down towards that mat. Maybe we can take the arms behind, or even above. And not being at all concerned to make it the same as the other side. We can even lean a little bit to the right hand side, which is really going to introduce quite a bit more stress to that left hip flexor. So again, finding your expression on this side of today. And just finding stillness. So all the connective tissue stress in the left hip flexor. Maybe extending from the hip flexor up to the rectus abdominis. And the healthy stress in the bones. Toes, ankles, knees, femur, pelvis, and the hip joints. Just a couple more breaths here. Gently bringing the hands back down. Bringing that right foot back. Getting ready for our next posture. So we're working we've done the front with the hip flexors, now we're doing the back with the glutes. And we're going to do that by coming onto our back. We're going to bring both feet close in towards the buttocks. And then we're going to take let's start with the right leg, bring that across onto just below the left knee. We're going to reach through. We'll either do that behind, hanging onto the thigh, or in front. So maybe just start with the hands on the back of the thigh, lying back, just beginning to find our edge, the target area is the glutes. I find that the position of this right foot in terms of distance from the knee has an effect, intensifies it a bit if you bring it in. If we need a little bit more, we can go around the outside and hold just under the knee. I'm just trying to find the edge, relax the muscles. No need for any tension in the muscles in any of the legs, or really the arms. We've just got the fingers interlaced. So really relaxing the right glute muscle. Being mindful of the right knee. If that's a little bit too much for the right knee, we can just ease off a little bit. And just finding stillness wherever you are. Exploring the connective tissue stress, right glute. Maybe coming down the outside of the right leg a little bit, the IT band. You could even play around a little bit with the position of the head. If you turn the head to the left hand side, you may find that it actually increases the stress in the right glute. And we've got some good healthy stress in the bones here, knees, femur, pelvis, hip joints. And just maintaining that stillness and enjoying the posture, continuing to open up, ensuring the glute muscles are consciously relaxed. Again, just letting the body know that this is an area we want mobility. Strengthen and lengthen the connective tissue. And we support that request that we make of our body by ensuring that we're properly hydrated so that those connective tissues can glide over each other when we do ask them to move. So releasing the hands, feet back on the mat, getting ready for the other side, staying with the feet close to the buttocks, bringing the left ankle up just below the knee, reaching through with the hands interlacing the fingers, and being mindful that this side may be very different to the other. Certainly for me, I have much less mobility on this left hand side, which means I have to be particularly aware of the effect on this left knee, because the left hip isn't as mobile. That can get transferred down to the next joint, which is the knee. So just easing into it, just finding that edge. And using the breath to relax that left glute. Inhaling into the glute and exhaling, releasing the stress. Either staying here and just being comfortable, or if we feel that the posture's opening up a little bit, we can take our hands on the outside below the knee. We can even adjust the position of the ankle up or down a little bit. And then wherever we find ourselves, just finding some stillness and using that stillness to explore, turn our awareness to connective tissue stress in the left glute. The left glute maybe coming down the outside of the left leg, the IT band. Maybe a sensation all the way down the outside of the left leg to the edge of the left foot. Enjoying the healthy stress on the bones. So knees, femur, pelvis, hip joints. Just continuing to enjoy the stillness and the opening up, the gentle opening up over time of the posture. Making sure that that left glute is absolutely relaxed. In fact, all of the muscles in the legs can be relaxed. So that we can really make sure the stress is in those connected tissues. We mentioned hydration briefly a few moments ago. The reason we need to make sure that we have water available is that our body produces hyaluronic acid, which attracts water, and that gel substance that it forms together is essentially the lubricant that our connective tissues need to glide over each other. So just releasing the hands, feet back on the mat. Staying lying down for our next rebound. So again, getting comfortable, arms and legs distance from the body. So bringing our awareness to the areas we've worked, the opposites, the pair of opposites, so hip flexors at the front, glutes at the back. Eyes closed if we're comfortable. Natural breathing. Inhaling, exhaling, and gently opening the mind with our awareness firmly in the target areas of the hip flexors and the glutes. Just observing, taking note of the sensations that arise, whether they're static or moving. Are they moving between the target areas or up and down the legs? Maybe they're moving up into the upper body. Maybe they're moving waves, or maybe they're more energetic and vibrational. For some people in the rebound, it's emotions that arise. And that's fine, whatever it is, whether it's energetic or emotional. Just understand that this is your response to the previous postures, and just allow it to be. Just allows us to understand ourselves a little bit more, and then next time we want to introspect a bit, we have a slightly better understanding of how we work. Right, gently onto our side. So we're going to work next with the obliques, so just either side. So we're going to bring our right leg forward. We're going to bring our right leg forward, taking the left leg back. Now this foot here can be in or out. And from here, we're going to take the left arm back, both hands, and basically twist intense stretch here. So just finding that edge. Target area is the sides or the obliques. And it's in this position with the torso elevated, we're going to feel it more on the right hand side if we've got our right hand behind. Finding that edge, using the breath here. Inhaling into the sides and exhaling. As the breath leaves the body, so too perhaps does the stress leave the muscles. Maybe that's just opening up, giving us the opportunity to adjust. Now here we can, if you wish, you can have a bolster. An arm bolster behind you. You can come down and rest on the bolster. And choosing a position for the head. Straightforward or to the side. Remembering that with all of these variations, the one we choose should be the one that gives us the optimal impact on the target area. So we can use the bolster. If we prefer, we can just use the elbows. And here we might want to just allow the head to drop forward. Or we could use the bolster just to support the head. Again, if you prefer, we can just ease into coming down onto the mat behind us. Wherever we are, whatever we choose, just finding stillness, exploring the connective tissue, stress in the left hand side now. As we bring the torso down, we'll find the stress moving from the right oblique to the left hand side. So now, if we're further down, it'll be the left oblique, maybe coming down to the rectus abdominis, the stomach, hip flexor. And also the healthy stress in the bones, the knees, femur, pelvis, hip joints. Wonderful twist all the way up the spine, all the way from the lumbar right up to the cervical, probably most of the twist in the thoracic, and then some healthy stress up in the shoulders, scapula, clavicle. Just maintaining the stillness, enjoying the opening up of the posture. As with any posture, if at any stage you need to ease off, then that's perfectly okay to come up a little bit, come out. It's not about the depth of the posture. It's about, in Yin, it's about the length of time that you can melt into it. Providing you're getting some healthy stress in that target area. And the longer we're there, the better. Swapping to the other side now, exactly the same. So we're taking the right leg behind us, bringing that left foot in front, taking the left hand behind us, twisting the body. Doesn't matter whether that foot's tucked in or not. Personally, I like to have the heel of the front leg just resting gently on the knee of the back leg. I find that helps with the twist, but you may not. So just finding that edge. Pausing here. Using the breath perhaps to help relax the muscles in the target areas, the obliques. With the torso up, feeling most of the stress here in the left hand side of the obliques. Exhale. Exhaling the stress from the muscles to the connective tissue. Maybe feeling that we've got the opportunity now to adjust a little, which could just be staying up here and adjusting, getting more comfortable, or could be coming down on the elbows, with or without the bolster. Maybe even just taking a bit of time here. Or if we want, coming all the way down, bringing the torso to the mat. And there, wherever we are, just finding stillness. Using that stillness in the body and the mind to explore connective tissue stress. Now in the right hand oblique, we've got the torso down, so it's moved from the left oblique to the right oblique, down through the rectus abdominis, maybe down into the hip flexor, maybe even the quad. Enjoying the healthy stress in the bones, knees, femur, pelvis, hip joint, and spinal twist, focused mainly in the thoracic. The middle of the spine is the part of the spine that is actually designed to twist, but also some good opportunities to get some twisting in the bones. There's some healthy stress in the bones in the cervical and the neck, depending which way we choose to turn the head. Left or right. As always, relating those variations back to the effect they have on the target area. Just enjoying the stillness for a little bit longer. Going through the body,
consciously relaxing any muscles that may be trying to re-engage. And as a result, just feeling the final opening up of the posture. Gently pushing back up. Coming back to our rebound, so we've done both sides of the obliques. So just having a rebound to reflect on that. Going back to the mat. Arms and legs relaxed. Bringing the eyes to a close if you're comfortable. Natural, relaxed breathing. Bringing your awareness to the obliques on both sides, the left and right of the body. Opening the mind to sensations that arise or simply pass through that area. Maybe with the obliques you find that the sensations are more passing through. They pass through the front and the back, maybe they pass through the groin and the glutes before travelling through the obliques to the upper body. For some people they pass through the obliques more into the rectus abdominis area. And for others it's more about a heart openness, more the emotional sensations. But whatever it is for you, just observing whatever waves or sensations arise. And making a note that this is your response to that particular posture. With understanding comes knowledge. So just rolling to one side, coming up to a seated position. So we're going to be working with our next pair. It's going to be the front and the back of the body. So we're going to do a couple of postures for the front or the stomach, the rectus abdominis, and then one for the back. So you may want a bolster for this. So we're going to lie on our front and come up on our elbows. Now for some of us this may be quite enough. We may already be getting a good stretch there through the stomach. And if that's the case, that's fine. For some of us, if we're not getting anything there, we might want to bring the elbows up onto a block. On bolster or even on blocks. And maybe we'll start here and just find our edge. Breathing into it, pause here. Breathe in to relax the muscles in the stomach.
front of the stomach. As we relax those, we're also going to find the lower back relax as well, that's fine. Inhale and exhale. The posture opens up. Perhaps we have an opportunity to adjust. It may just be bringing the arms in a bit closer to get a little bit extra height. As we get a bit more height in the torso, we're going to have a bit more stress down here. But for some of us, that may not be enough. So you may want to come up onto the hands, or even grab some blocks. And come up onto the hands or the blocks. So just working with whatever variation suits you today. Wherever you find yourself, just finding some stillness. It's a soft stillness, not a rigid, forced one. So, although we say stillness as things open up, we want to be able to allow the body to just sink a little deeper. Exploring the connective tissue here in the front of the body, stomach, rectum, abdominis, all the way up the front. Also some healthy stress here in the bones, base of the spine, the lumbar and the sacrum. Extension of the spine, so we've got compression all the way up the back of the spine. We've also got some healthy stress or compression across the shoulders and the scapula, clavicle. Coming all the way down the arms, humerus, radius, ulna, even down to the wrists. Little variations if we want them. We can move our hands closer together, we can bring the blocks close together. You can also try the position of the feet. As we bring the feet closer together, we're going to find the stress more targeted towards the middle of the rectus abdominis. But for some people this is a bit too much in the back. So just play around a little and find the best compromise for you. Gently coming out. That posture. We're going to stay with the rectus abdominis at the front before we go to the back. Simply because it's quite a large muscle group. So I just wanted to make sure that we give the opportunity for the fascia around there to really get activated. So I'm going to suggest a bolster. We're going to lie on our back across this. We can use blocks, but I tend to favour a bolster. So in terms of placement, you're going to want to place the blocks or the bolster in the middle of the back, down here, middle of the back. And just allow the body to come back. Some people might like to have the head supported, maybe at least initially. While we're settling in, and just as usual, we're finding that edge.
maybe while we're finding our edge, we've got the head supported, arms down by the side. Inhaling and exhaling. As we exhale, maybe that muscular stress in the rectus abdominis passes to the connective tissue, and perhaps the posture opens up a little bit, allows us to adjust. If we want to take our arms over the head, we can. We can have them out as a stop sign, folded above, or straight above. Again, picking the variation that optimises the connective tissue stress in the rectus abdominis. Again, I like to interlace the fingers and just finding stillness. Exploring the connective tissue stress. The front of the body, the rectus abdominis. Again, we could adjust the position of the feet. Just observe if that changes the position of the connective tissue stress. The rectus abdominis, and coming further up the upper body, up the inside of the arms. And healthy stress in the bones here, mainly in the spine. Full extension of the spine. So compression of the spinous processes all the way up the spine. Opening up the front of the spine and the chest. Those spinal discs, the intervertebral discs, a good squeeze. Helpful to renew the spinal fluid. Just gently, maybe rolling to one side. Hanging on to the bolster and the block. So having worked the front, we're now going to go to the opposite, the back. We're going to do that with a forward fold. So I'm going to suggest, you could just do a straightforward dragonfly, but I'm going to suggest putting the feet together in front of us. They can be far away or close in, again, whatever suits you as an individual. And then we're just going to allow ourselves to fold forward. Now, unlike the earlier postures where we wanted to maintain a straighter back, we actually want a rounded spine here. This is the counter to the front, so we're wanting to target the thoracolumbar area in the back. So just allow ourselves to fold forward, Some people like to support the head. With a block. Or using the bolster. Some people like to actually just have the bolster right in front. But it can make it quite difficult sometimes to get a good rounding of the back. So whatever's most comfortable for you, that allows you to optimise this stress in the back, folding forward. Finding that edge. Allowing the head to fold forward if you wish. Breathing into the back. Exhaling. As we exhale, we'll feel the muscular stress leaving, moving to the connective tissue. Adjusting if you want. And then just finding stillness. Using the stillness to explore the connective tissue stress all the way up the back through the thoracolumbar area, maybe even coming into the neck. Healthy stress also in the bones, the spine. Really beautiful deep flexion of the spine, opening the spine all the way up the back. Opening out gaps in between the spinous processes, compressing the front of the spine. So again, giving those intervertebral discs a little massage, renewing that spinal fluid. And just maintaining the stillness here, ensuring the muscles are fully relaxed in the back. Just another breath. Gently walking yourself back up, straightening out the legs. Getting ready now for our Shavasana. Lying on your back. Arms and legs comfortable distance from the body. Maybe bringing the eyes to a close. If you're comfortable with that, or if you're not, just fixing a soft gaze on the ceiling. Bringing our attention back to the breath for a moment. Inhaling and exhaling. Making the breath the focus of your awareness. And just allowing the breath to take you a little bit deeper inside. And just listening to my voice for a little while longer as I lead you towards the sound of the gong.
So for our Shavasana today, we're going to listen to just a few moments of the sound of the gong, allowing the gong to take over from my voice and lead you on a journey within yourself, quite possibly a very non-linear journey, just following the sound, allowing the sound to resonate through the body and the mind, allowing that sound to take you on a tour of where you've been in the last 90 minutes. And now, very gently, just start to bring yourself back to the room. Maybe wriggle the fingers and the thumbs, the toes. Rotate the wrists and the ankles. Maybe take the arms over the head, just stretch the arms above. And when you're ready, roll gently onto one side and come to a comfortable seated position. Keeping the eyes closed if you are able. Just taking a couple of breaths. Before slowly blinking the eyes open. Coming back to the room. I do hope that you enjoyed both the practice and the sound of the gong. We continue to thank you for practicing with us. Namaste.